Well, Thursday night, the NFL draft started with the first round. Saturday, things wrapped up. Joining me today to break all this down from the Tuesday night sports show on Real Country 95.9, Greg Buchanan. Greg, thanks for taking this time.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, Bucky, as I said, big night for the NFL with the draft going there. Let's just jump into things here. Starting things off, who do you think was the winner of the night for the NFL draft?
When you're talking about winners and losers from a draft, you're projecting, right? You're okay. This is going to be great for them if. So there's a lot of ifs going into this right now, and I think you look at the Chicago Bears, and they get Fields, 11th overall, and here's a guy, Justin Fields, quarterback for Ohio State, that was 1 and 2 or 3. Like he was a legit potentially number 1 or 2, and then he dropped, and nobody was really saying why he dropped so much. But I think the Bears have been looking for a quarterback for the longest time. They may have finally found their guy. And on top of that, the interview he did after he got drafted saying he is the best quarterback available in the NFL draft. If you think about that, you think about the great quarterbacks that did go, to say that tells you he does not lack confidence.
And Greg, just to add on to that point, I totally agree. Chicago Bears, I think they did phenomenal. For myself, I am a Bears fan, so maybe I am slightly biased. But, another big thing the Bears were missing was offensive line talent. They picked up Tevin Jenkins, another guy that they traded up for in this draft. And Mike Gundy, the coach for Oklahoma State University, even said, Jenkins could be one of the best offensive linemen coming out of this draft. So I think Chicago saw their needs and they addressed them for sure. Now, Greg, going on to maybe the losers of the draft, in my mind, it's got to be the Green Bay Packers. I mean, we've heard different rumors going around about Aaron Rodgers wanting out. In my mind, you hear your star quarterback wants out. You got to give him something to work with, something that makes him want to stay. And Greg, they didn't choose a wide receiver until the third round there. I guess just going forward, what are your thoughts on the whole Aaron Rodgers situation in Green Bay?
You got to look at this. Green Bay's not a bad football team, Aaron. They've had good offense. So why is it so important for you to have a receiver to play with you, Aaron? You were a win away from the Super Bowl. You were the MVP. So things aren't that bad in Green Bay. But almost to a point where, come on, who's kidding who? Guess who's waiting in the wings? There's a quarterback, Love, sitting there waiting in the wings, waiting for his opportunity. So in the back of Aaron's mind, he's got to be thinking, I'm going to be replaced eventually, which is what they should be doing. He's long in the tooth, but they're still treading those tires for Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, I understand where he's coming from. But again, another disgruntled all-star quarterback that wants his way or the highway. And he's saying it's either him or the GM. Guess who usually wins out is the GM. So Aaron Rodgers likely going to Southern Cal.
Well, and Aaron Rodgers was part of a scenario, back when he was a rookie in the NFL, sort of replacing Brett Favre. It's got to kind of be expected when you are Aaron Rodgers, kind of just flipping the script here, Bucky. Now, Greg, in this NFL draft, Canadians kind of stole the show, or I guess you could say from a Canadian aspect, tying the record for most Canadians taken in an NFL draft with 4. Is there one guy out of this group of 4 here that you think will impact their team more than others?
Well, an Alberta boy, Chuba Hubbard, you want to say, yeah, he's going to. I don't know about that. I really like Josh Palmer, wide receiver out of Tennessee, a basketball player converted to a football player. So great athlete, great jump, great vertical. Maybe doesn't have the speed, but in the NFL game, you can kind of get away with that if you fight for the ball and win those battles. So he had 2 of his biggest games against 2 of the best defenses in the U.S. college football in Georgia and also Alabama. So if he had those 2 good big games against those 2 teams, against very tough defensive teams, a good chance he could make a difference there with the Chargers, who are going through a rebuild. So he's going to get his opportunities.
And great quarterback with the Chargers in Justin Herbert. Greg, I'm going to go with Jevon Holland going to the Miami Dolphins. I just think he fits well into their system. He's a ball hawk safety who's going to do well working with the cornerbacks that they have there. Greg, it should be an exciting one moving forward to the NFL. I look forward to seeing what these players can do in the near future here.
Yeah, and that's $1 million question right now. We say that you're always projecting. So when you draft a player, you project where he's going to be. So they're projecting where some of these players will be in 2 or 3 years. There could be a Ryan Leaf out there. You're hoping you didn't draft a Ryan Leaf, who was one of the biggest busts in NFL history. But again, it might be a Tom Brady, who is in the late rounds, and we know what Brady did. He has enough Super Bowl rings for his entire hand. So yeah, you never know what you're going to get.